right, are you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are ready for this because this is gonna blow your mind.
That dude in the hairpiece the whole time, that was Bruce Willis.
Nice little tie in there, man.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm done.
Drop the mic.
Leave it on a high.
So we should start with like a. Yeah. Little isn't that bass riff like different?
It's all
Like,
different.
yeah, for
Always
like
different. It's
every episode or every season.
every episode. He did. Yeah, there's not technically a theme song
To Seinfeld.
to Seinfeld.
Okay.
Because every episode, and he just based it around the cadence of his jokes.
Who was the bassist?
Was it Jonathan Wolf? I think was his name.
Is he like a session musician?
I think he's just like a studio musician. Yeah.
Cool.
That'd be actually pretty interesting to kind of see if he's done anything else
Yeah.
outside of Seinfeld.
Well, there's a lot of like studio musicians will work with like really popular bands
Right.
for like different various reasons or whatever. So
Well, true. That's a very big thing with bands too. Is like you go in to record the album. Like, I'm pretty sure, like bands you can't all meet up at the same time.
yeah,
To record, but they also have the studio musicians.
right.
In I know a lot of songs. Listening to Casey, like U-Man kind of talks about that a lot. And
Professor U Man.
yeah. Yeah, just a lot of the studio musicians are, played some of the like biggest hits that we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't Randy Jackson one? He played with a lot. He played with Journey
Was
for
he?
a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Huh.
Welcome, friends.
Yes, welcome.
Welcome, everyone, to our very first little mini bonus episode. We're not in the studio.
No,
We're not.
this is not a studio.
This is Matt's garage. This is where we are. So it's my garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just wanted to kind of do this thing. What we do is, with Culture Copia, we talk about pop culture, obviously, and we tend to we'll all brainstorm different ideas, right? And
Right.
we come up with that list. And there's some things that some guys just kind of, I don't want to say sour on, but it's they're like, I don't really know about that.
Just yeah. Right.
I'm pretty eclectic, so I,
Right.
like a lot of different stuff. Seinfeld was one of those topics that was just I think Casey's I've kind of
Casey's
watched
seen
it.
one
Yeah,
episode. He said,
so you and I are the big Seinfeld
Yeah,
guys. So this is just us basically talking Seinfeld today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just brought something out and I forgot to grab it.
Okay.
Where's it? I think I've showed you this before. I don't know.
No.
Then we got the Fusilli Jerry. Yeah. So
You silly Jerry.
Fusilli Jerry.
Yeah.
So he's gonna hang out with us today too. We can put him right up here next to
That is
Squirtle.
too cool.
Put him right in front. So he'll hang out with us today
Yeah.
for the Seinfeld. I got that. That's Amy's. I got that for her. She's not here right now. That's my wife's. Normally she would be here. But yeah, no, she. It was one of those like the Loot Crate things.
Yeah.
It's a box of this pop culture stuff. It'll have a theme. That one was Seinfeld, so it came with a mug.
Yeah.
Fusilli Jerry, some pins you put on your shirt,
right.
Stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, so Seinfeld. Oh, dude, where do you even start?
Speaking of Fusilli Jerry,
Yeah.
you notice in the later episodes in Kramer's apartment, when he's on the phone, there's the episode where he's got the same number as the movie phone.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it's a lot of Kramer just sitting on his couch answering the phone.
Yeah.
Well, behind him is 2 or 3 of these.
Oh, really?
I don't know if they're fusilli Jerry's, but
Or,
they're
like,
different pastas because he was making them
Okay.
out of all I'm making one of you, George, out of ravioli.
So that's just like some like continuity,
Right.
I guess, with the episodes where it's like, okay, so there's some of
Kind
the
of
pasta.
Easter eggish kind of thing going on there, but yeah.
No, I don't know if I ever noticed that. Yeah. I do love the movie. Why don't you just tell me what movie you want to see? Yeah, that's a good one.
Kramer?
So
Yeah.
Seinfeld, I'm sure you know this. You probably know more about Seinfeld than anybody I know.
I do love it.
They almost got canceled.
Yeah, like right off the bat.
Season 1.
Right.
Didn't do well,
No.
right? And I've gone back and watched those episodes, and I can see, they're not bad.
They're not bad. They have their funny
Yeah.
points,
Yeah.
but
It's like restarting Always Sunny.
yeah.
You go back to that first season, you're like, okay,
Right.
It's
just kind of slow,
yeah.
kind of,
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they were trying to find their kind of like voice and their niche of, like with Seinfeld, it's a really popular show. Mm-hmm. And it's a huge part of pop culture now.
Right.
But at that time, that was a different sense of humor.
Right. Right. And that's what they were trying to go for that.
Absolutely.
A different path.
Yes. I think when you're doing that, it can be, you're a pioneer. You're taking a risk.
Right.
You're taking a risk starting that show.
Definitely.
Because it wasn't like anything else.
Right.
And
I'm pretty sure, when they get into the episodes where Jerry and George are pitching, the Jerry pilot
the show.
and that, and they're like, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
and, a show about nothing, and which Seinfeld is not a show about nothing.
Even though they say that.
Jerry, the show that they
Is the show about nothing.
is the show about nothing. But I'm sure that was very similar to how they were pitching it to NBC, pitching Seinfeld.
And similar to the way they were being received.
Right.
As well.
Right.
I'm sure. You know. Especially with Larry David, I think he needed someone like Jerry Seinfeld.
Right.
Because Jerry is very personable.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you watch comedians in cars and things like that. Like, he knows how to talk to people.
Right.
Larry David does not.
Yeah.
So he is, a big part of George is based off of Larry David.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So all those
all George's antics. And,
the social, how would you, he kind of violates social,
right,
parameters and things like that.
The fabric of society, George, is very complex.
Right. So, and that's Larry David's whole kind of attitude.
Why do we do this?
Yes.
Yeah.
And would be the person to I guess there's a pettiness.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To George, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's I remember listening to an interview with Ted Danson. Because he's friends with Larry David.
Okay, yeah.
So I think, didn't he would show up on Curb.
He's on Curb a lot, yeah.
And he was talking about things he's like, Larry, the rules of society don't apply to Larry.
Right.
He's like, Larry will say, let's all meet up for dinner at, 8:00. You get there at 8, and then he's paying the check because he already ate because he decided to get there at 7 because he was hungry. But he didn't tell you that. So now he's leaving, and then you're there for a dinner with somebody who just left.
Right.
We're all out to dinner. It's he just didn't. It was just I'm not going to tell them. I'm just going to go eat now.
Right.
Wait, what?
I don't drink wine. I drink Pepsi. I could totally see Larry David saying it, just based off of his character on Curb. I could totally see.
Well, that's the thing with Curb is that was Larry making his show for him.
Right. Right. Pretty
Like,
much taking plucking George character out of Seinfeld
Right.
and almost like a spin-off, kind of.
in a way, right? Yeah. Wait for the car to pass. We are going to get a little bit of noise. Probably not. It's probably. I mean, this should block out the background noise. But
Right.
again, we are in the garage. We got the door open, so it's a beautiful day.
It's just a nice day, yeah.
It is a little rainy, but yeah. What? See, where do I want to go with this? What's like your earliest memory of Seinfeld? Like,
Yeah.
Did you grow up watching it?
Pretty much. I probably came across it, me and my brother, probably, middle schoolish.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know, it was later in the series when we started watching it. But, I mean, we were watching it when it was still being broadcast, like
Right.
live episodes or new episodes every week.
Okay.
But I can't really think of the first episode that I'd seen or the one that was like, oh, I gotta watch this show. The one
really
that hooked me.
Yeah, that hooked you. I can't remember that either.
Yeah,
With a lot of shows, I can pinpoint that.
right.
There's like a certain episode where you're like,
Like The Simpsons, I remember watching. It was the Treehouse of Horror episode. That was the very first.
like the first one.
I'm pretty sure it was the first one.
Yeah.
Um,
But it
But
was
I-
a Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah,
like an early
I
Treehouse
can
of Horror.
picture, me just
Yeah.
laying on the carpet in front of the TV and like that intro, coming in.
Yeah.
And but with Seinfeld, yeah, I can't really pinpoint the exact
That's
moment. I just know it was
'Cause I can't
early.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, especially once me and my brother got a TV in our room, and said,
You can watch whatever you want.
We were just sitting there watching Seinfeld, cracking up.
So it wasn't like a family thing.
Nah, it really was just me and my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of was for me too. It was a little later for me. Well, maybe like you said, middle school, maybe early high school.
Yeah,
It's,
I was definitely middle school.
It's like 13, 14 maybe.
Yeah,
When I
like
started.
you start just getting to be old enough to kind of understand most of the
Right.
jokes.
Yeah.
And it still a lot of them went over my head.
Yeah. At that time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I attribute a lot of my like pop culture knowledge and things like that to, TV shows and movies. It's like, people are like, how do you know all this stuff? It's like, it's just because you hear it and like maybe I don't know what that is the first time I hear it.
Right.
Like Menon deodorant was not a thing like that I remember when we were kids.
By Menon.
By Menon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't know that jingle.
Yeah.
Like I learned that
Through Seinfeld.
through Seinfeld,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
stanza
Right.
by Menon.
Yeah.
I was like, the hell's by Menon? You know what I mean? And then I learned,
Yeah.
oh, it was because wasn't it a deodorant brand?
It was a deodorant brand. Yeah.
And the jingle, that was the jingle.
That was-
by Menon.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
right.
I don't think it was around when we were kids. And if it
No,
was, they didn't
I
advertise
remember it. I remember.
Do you?
Like,
Do you remember those ads? The jingle?
I don't really remember
That's
the
what I'm
ads
saying.
themselves, but I do remember the by Menon. And when I seen that episode,
You knew
like
that.
I knew exactly
Okay.
what they were
See,
talking
I
about.
didn't.
Yeah.
But that's an example of something that I found out by like, oh.
Right.
And now I know that. And like, yeah, I just know why I don't forget those things. I have no idea. But that's, TV and movies where I heard, got a lot of that stuff as a kid. Like,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that age where it's like, I don't really get the reference. But then once I find out, I'm like, I get it now.
You know, another show like that is Home Improvement.
Yeah.
Like I've was recently rewatching that because it's on Hulu, but a lot of the jokes, it's like, holy crap!
Yeah.
Like, this was a family, a family show.
Yeah.
But
That was-
just like family, kid movies, you got to put the adult humor in
Oh, of
there
course,
to appeal
of
to the
course.
parents and that. But yeah,
I think that's a big difference in Seinfeld too. Is it was not a family show,
no.
and I guess you could say like Friends, like other things that were popular at that time were also not.
Yeah,
But Friends was more mainstream.
right.
with its humor and like the
Yeah,
way
they were a little more PG about it.
Yeah, like the writing style and everything. Whereas I think what draws me to Seinfeld and being somebody who loves comedy, loves TV and movies, things like that, is they were making a show for themselves.
Right. Yeah.
There's a difference, and you notice it in pop culture especially, in like we're making something for an audience or for like mass appeal,
Right.
versus we're making this for us.
Right.
You see it with filmmakers too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know, there's examples of that too, where like there's movies that are made to fill seats, and there's movies that are like, well, I'm not out to do that.
Yeah. If you want to come watch this movie, come watch it.
Yeah, like I would appreciate you coming and seeing my art and understanding where it's coming from, but this is for me.
Right.
You know, not to say that it's like selfish or self-centered. It could come off that way.
Well, I mean, I get it, because it's like you have an idea in your head, like, and again, like, you know, it might not appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
But I still want to make it. I still want to do it.
You
know?
make the art that you want to make. You make it for yourself, and it'll find its audience.
Right. Right.
There's an audience out there.
Oh yeah.
Versus just making something for like, well, you know, if we make it too dark or we make it there's too much of like a niche, you know, like this joke won't necessarily fit in the mainstream, and it's like, well, if we change it, then we're changing our vision,
right?
And we're selling out on our idea,
right?
And I think Seinfeld stuck true to what they wanted,
right?
You know, I do find it. There is a Jerry Seinfeld. I'm sure they maybe talked about this before this, but I saw it in the Comedians in Cars episode with him and Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Okay.
Where he had pitched the idea when Julia Louis-Dreyfus was pregnant, that they write it in that Elaine just got fat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And she like broke down in tears. He was like, all right, I guess we won't do that.
Yeah.
But then she even said in that interview that she was like, you know, looking back, I wish we would have done it.
Right.
It would have been really funny.
That would have been funny too.
Because they just, you know, they had her leave or whatever.
Yeah, they had her leave a couple of times. You know, she went to Europe.
Yeah.
Or whatever. She was in Mexico.
Yep.
And then the last season, I think it was the last season, with Punta Mayo.
Okay, yeah.
Where she's trying to put that clothing store out of business.
Yes.
And she was pregnant then.
Okay.
Or for a couple of episodes, I think. And, you know, she just wore baggy or...
Yeah, they try to, like, hide it.
And then, like, they kind of just did shots of, you know, from her, you know,
she's
chest
standing
up.
behind something.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that Punta Mayo episode, like, she's got that big, like a South American or Mayan, like, outfit.
Like
robe.
a poncho, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, she's like, I've been dancing out in the street, you know. And Jerry's like, oh, that's why it's been raining so much. But she's got that big baggy thing on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always a challenge with shows, when like, you know, when the actors get pregnant and things like that, having to cover that. I'm glad you brought up the last season, because I read something, like I was looking at like the ratings of each episode, like the last, like the finale episode is one of the like lowest rated.
Yeah, that was like
they did not get,
you either liked it or you didn't.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. I do enjoy that, like, it goes back to like the first conversation that they had.
It ends with the same line that it started with.
We have some guests. Come here. Come here.
Oh,
come on, say hi. We're doing a podcast right now. Look, we had the say. Yeah, it's video. Yeah, we're filming this way. Say hi. Come here. You want to go see Xena? She's inside. We're dog sitting. Come here. Can I get hugs and kisses? Say hello. Let's say hi.
Hi.
Aw.
We're talking about Seinfeld. Do you like Seinfeld? That was my oldest, Jude. Raven went straight inside to see the dog. Yeah, can you come here? Merritt, we're doing a podcast. Do you want to say hi to everybody watching? Look, there's the camera. You say hi.
Hi.
We're talking about Seinfeld today. Do you like Seinfeld? You don't know. Have you ever watched it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Probably not. All right. Yeah, well, let's go let the dog go. Well, I guess that's as good a time as any to wrap up,
Okay.
right? I mean, it's all right. I'm gonna go tend to my children, and we could maybe do a part 2 at some point. But
Yeah.
it's
Okay. Okay.
perfect. All right. Hey,
Hey.
thanks
Cheers.
for coming by.
Yeah.
We're gonna do more of these for sure.
Mhm,
We'll do
mhm.
more.
Ding 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 ding. Ding,
Yeah.
There was one episode where they had a lady
Yeah.
singing on that.
I don't remember that.
It's
Oh,
one
I do
episode,
remember that. I do
and
remember.
It was like people did not like it.